Good day everyone, I am Kimberly Joy Kilat and today I am going to present to you my thesis proposal entitled The Yakan Weaving Practice, Decline and Revitalization. Before I start, let me show you a short video of the Yakan weaving practice. The Yakan weaving industry is one of the Philippines' cultural pride. Its definite and colorful patterns, carefully entwined with the most skilled hands of the Yakan weavers, holds decades of unparalleled cultural convention. For years, this has been the Yakan people's livelihood. The Yakan village in Zamboanga City is a constant part of every tourist's itinerary. This industry has gathered people from across borders to develop deep admiration and understanding about the Yakan tribe and their traditions. This is a skill worthy to be taken with utmost care, thus should be passed on from generation to continue the practice. According to Atilano Jr. in 2014, he made mention that weaving is one of the definitive features of the Yakans. The Yakan weaving is known for the intricacy of its designs, the eye-catching and colorful textiles with tiny motifs used in the woven clothes and garbs. This craft, which has been passed on to generations, has undergone changes in its place in society and culture, particularly in terms of designs, materials, and procedures used. As time and taste change, so does art. The executive director of Pacifica Renaissance, a non-governmental organization in Japan, Takuya Nagaoka, in his article published in ichcourier.org entitled Preserving and Revitalizing Traditional Cultures and Historical Heritage in the Pacific Islands, he wrote that the rapid modernization in the post-war period have caused changes in lifestyle and the decline of traditional cultures that had been inherited as wisdoms of peoples for thousands of years in the Pacific nations. He stressed that without proper documentation of this cultural heritage, this knowledge is possibly long gone, and that what has been passed on to the present generation holds the deepest respect to the origin and identity of the culture. The Yakan's delicate weaving design is recognizable by its unique technicolor geometric patterns. The textile industry of the tribe is both a source of livelihood and a representation of their unique way of life. The art of weaving of the Yakans reflects their culture, ideas, beliefs, and identity, which makes them stand out in the society. Hence, the preservation and protection of this art should be on top of the community's list of priorities. About 7 kilometers from the city proper of Zamboanga lies the Yakan weaving village. The village showcases the different Yakan fabrics, from bags to wallets, pouches to cell phone holders, and clothes to metered fabrics. It also boasts the actual weaving of the Yakan weavers. But beneath the prideful culture of the Yakan is the heartbreaking exhibition of a dying art form that the younger generation failed to recognize. At present, no more than 10 Yakan weavers are actively participating in the weaving practice at the Yakan village, Lower Calarian, Zamboanga City, and all of them are middle-aged, if not elders. This study aims to discover describe the pedagogical approaches in the Yakan weaving practice and its personal, economic, and environmental impact. It sought to expose the cases that trouble the preservation and continuation of the artistic culture. Specifically, this study intends to answer the following questions. First, how does the Yakan weaving practice interplay with the cultural life of the Yakans in terms of economic livelihood and social identity? Second, what are the causes that will affect the decline and eventual death of the Yakan weaving practice today? And third, how does the Yakan revitalize their weaving practice? The Yakan weaving is not just a cultural art form that needs to be preserved and continued. It is the identity of the Yakans. The practice displays how, in a world of modernization and scientific logos, a delicate skill still lives and is preserved. Presented in this chapter is a synthesis of study, reports, articles, and documents grounded on similar ideals with this research. The review focused on the different theories, determinants, and variables used in the analysis of this research. In the realm of economics, according to Atalanas Jr. 2014, weaving served as a means of earning a living for the survival of the tribe. The Yakan weavers have been participating in promotional activities to further publicize their craft, resulting to international trading of the woven materials. This is also true to other interlacing practices, such as the loom weaving industry in La Union. In a feature article published in PIA.gov.ph, a housewife named Tita Dasha Nogueras was able to send 3 children to reputable colleges in the country. Also, in the agricultural village of Bahe in Leon, Iloilo, a group of women uses handicraft making as an alternative livelihood source. They weave mats and baskets using indigenous materials, which are abundant in the area, according to dailygarden.com. According to Henry Tajfel, a Polish social psychologist, people belong to where they draw their pride and self-esteem. This is when he proposed groups, such as social class, family, team, etc. This is to the degree that Tajfel and Turner, 1979, suggested the 3 mental processes involved in the evaluation of groups, thus the term us and them. Among the 3 levels are social categorization and social identity. Social categorization, defined as the classification of beliefs, ideas, comes social identification, where we categorize ourselves where we belong according to beliefs or ideas. Of course, conforming to cultural norms. Hence, your identity is also your source of pride and self-esteem. This is according to MacLeod in 2008. Transpired in a study of weaving livelihoods by Tamim in 2010, an important feature in the weaver's context, apart from weaving as a source of living, is it also displays an important part in the social and political linkages. It stressed out that there is more to weaving than income-generating activity, but hand-woven crafts are more streamlined to promote continuity of Mayan tradition rather than the capital production. On decline and revitalization, in other parts of the Philippines, weavers struggle to preserve their cultures despite poverty and exploitation. Although social customs in developing countries have tried hard to preserve and continue the established practices of the natives, there had been adjustments and changes and/or alterations to these practices as resource to the changing environment and rapid modernization. The cultural practices passed on to them by their ancestors are considered as their cultural heritage and had always been a part of their identity. However, it was outweighed by economic disadvantages. This study will be grounded on 3 theories. First, social cognitive theory by Albert Bandura. Second, social identity theory by Tajfel and Turner. And third, the theory of planned behavior or reasoned action by Aj Zen and Fishbane. SCT explores the probable resulting truth of social influence on external and internal social reinforcement, while taking in careful consideration the social environment and where individuals perform their behavior. This theory suggests that learning happens through observation and imitation of the innate person, which is the learner, of the model behavior, that is, weaving. The learning environment, social-cultural norms in Yakan community in this study, will serve as determinants in the acquisition of weaving skills. In social identity theory, a person has not one personal self, but rather several selves that corresponds to widening circles of group membership. Different social contexts may trigger an individual to think, feel, and act on basis of her personal, family, or national level of self. Apart from the level of self, an individual has multiple social identities. According to Hogg and Vaughan 2002, social identity is the individual's self-concept derived from perceived membership of social groups. In other words, it is an individual-based perception of what defines the us associated with any internalized group membership. The theory of reasoned action suggests that the person's behavior is determined by his or her intention to perform the behavior, and that his or her intention is, in turn, a function of his or her attitude toward the behavior and his or her subjective norm. The best predictor of behavior is intention. Intention is the cognitive representation of a person's readiness to perform a given behavior, and it is considered to be the immediate antecedent of behavior. This intention is determined by three things: attitude toward the specific behavior, their subjective norms, and the perceived behavioral control. In this chapter, I will present to you the conceptual framework of this study. The framework shows the schematic paradigm outlining relationships of the independent, dependent, and the intervening variables used in the study. This framework is modified social cognitive theory by Albert Bandura. It shows that the pedagogy of Yakan weaving has direct connection to cultural implications, such that cultural implications has also direct connections to economic livelihood and social identity. Another conceptual framework that I will use in this study is modified theory of planned behavior or reasoned action by Zen and Fishbane. It shows the variables dependent and independent to each other. This study hypothesized that first, the Yakan weaving practice is one of the livelihoods of the Yakans. Second, the Yakan weaving practice identifies Yakans from other cultures. Third, the apathy of the younger generation of Yakans and the low level of income that it gives are the causes of the decline of the weaving practice. And fourth, the revitalization of the Yakan weaving practice is done through actual demonstration of the skill. This study will strictly follow and abide by the rules of the National Commission on Indigenous People, Administrative Order Number 1, Series of 2012, known as the Indigenous Knowledge Systems and Practices, or IKSPs, and Customary Laws, CLs, Research and Documentation Guidelines of 2012. Thank you so much for listening to my thesis proposal presentation. Again, this is Ms. Kimberly Joy Kilat on the Yakan weaving practice, decline, and revitalization.